What if one tree could be your pharmacy, your grocery store, and your hardware store, all rolled into one? Imagine a single plant that holds the power to heal, the generosity to feed, and the strength to build. This isn't science fiction. In the sun-drenched islands of the Pacific, scattered across vast stretches of ocean, there is such a plant. For thousands of years, its secrets have been woven into the very fabric of life, a silent provider that asks for nothing but sun and salty air. It stands on stilt-like roots, a sentinel on the coastline, holding the keys to survival and culture within its leaves, its trunk, and its bizarre, exploding planet of a fruit. This is the story of Pandanus tectorius, the tree that does it all.
Before we dive deep, join our community of curious minds. Subscribe to The Career Botanist for the hidden science of nature. Let's begin. To the naked eye, it is just nature. But look closer. It is engineering. It is economics. It is survival. Welcome to the hidden side of biology. This is modern botany.
Along the fringes of tropical beaches, where turquoise water laps against white sand, you'll find it. With its spirally arranged leaves, it's often called the screw pine, though it's not a pine at all. In Hawaii, it's known as hala. To many across the Pacific, it's simply a part of life, as fundamental as the ocean itself. This is Pandanus tectorius, a hardy little tree that can reach heights of up to 14 meters, or about 46 feet. It cuts a bold, almost prehistoric figure in the landscape, with a slender, forking trunk covered in ring-like leaf scars, and most iconically, a tangled pyramid of thick prop roots that anchor it firmly in the shifting coastal sands. But those roots are more than just an anchor. They're a symbol of resilience, a physical sign of the tree's ability to thrive where few others can, braving salt spray, fierce winds, and sun-scorched earth. For centuries, this tree has been a cornerstone of Pacific Islander life, its importance second only to the coconut on many atolls. Today, we're going to find out exactly why. We'll uncover how this single plant acts as a complete life support system. We'll start in its pharmacy, exploring the traditional medicinal knowledge held in its roots and leaves. Then, we'll visit its grocery store, cracking open one of the strangest and most vital fruits in the tropics. And finally, we'll stop by its hardware store, learning how its long, tough leaves are transformed into everything from roofing to fine mats. This is a journey into an ethnobotanical marvel, a living testament to the profound connection between people and plants. Before modern medicine reached the remote corners of the Pacific, the pharmacy was the land itself. And in this natural apothecary, the pandanus tree was an absolute treasure chest of remedies. Just about every part of the plant, from the tips of its aerial roots to the core of its fruit, held some kind of medicinal value. This knowledge, passed down through generations, is a rich tapestry of observation, tradition, and a deep understanding of the plant's powerful bioactivity. Let's start from the ground up, with the roots. The thick, stilt-like prop roots that give the tree its distinctive look aren't just for stability. In traditional Polynesian healing, a decoction made from these roots was used for a wild variety of ailments. It was seen as a powerful diuretic and used to treat urinary difficulties and blennorrhea. For digestive issues like stomach cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea, a drink made from the roots was a go-to remedy. Some traditions even credit the root decoction with aphrodisiac and heart-strengthening properties. The uses didn't stop there. The roots were also part of treatments for arthritis and headaches. And perhaps most dramatically, in some regions, the roots were mixed with other plants to create an antidote for certain types of fish poisoning, a life-or-death situation in a society so reliant on the sea. Modern science is finally starting to catch up. Studies have confirmed that extracts from the aerial roots have significant anti-inflammatory properties. One study found that fresh juice from the aerial roots produced a 34.5% inhibition of carrageenan-induced edema, a standard lab test for anti-inflammatory effects. Moving up the tree, you get to the leaves. These long, sword-shaped leaves, often armed with sharp spines, were another key part of the traditional medical kit. For aches and pains, like arthritis and stomach spasms, a leaf decoction was consumed. For headaches, a more direct approach was taken. Fresh leaves were mixed with oil and applied as a hot poultice straight to the head. Young leaves were also used to create poultices for treating boils. The leaves were also chewed to strengthen the gums, and in India's Ayurvedic medicine, pandanus leaves have a long history of use for treating serious skin diseases. Even the male flowers, known as hinano in Tahitian, had medicinal uses. These fragrant, white, drooping clusters of tiny flowers last only a day but are intensely aromatic. Traditionally, the anthers of these flowers were used for headaches and earaches. Some traditions also claim the male flowers have aphrodisiac properties. Scientific analysis has started to back this up, revealing that floral extracts of Pandanus tectorius have powerful antioxidant, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory properties. Lab tests have even shown these extracts are effective against bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus. The chemical breakdown of the floral extract shows a complex cocktail of active compounds, including flavonoids, phenolics, and even yohimbine, a well-known stimulant. But the most pharmacologically diverse part of the plant might just be the fruit. While we'll get to it as a food source later, its medicinal profile is just as impressive. Rich in phytochemicals, the fruit has been studied for a range of powerful effects. Research has identified antioxidant, antibacterial, anti-diabetic, and even anti-cancer properties in fruit extracts. Specific compounds like tangeretin and ethyl transcathiate have been isolated, which contribute to these effects. One of the most promising areas of research is its effect on metabolic health. A study on cathinoylquinic acids found in the fruit extract showed remarkable effects on high cholesterol and fats in the blood. In diabetic mice, the extract helped reduce cholesterol and triglycerides and increase good HDL cholesterol, all without showing any toxicity to the liver. This lines up perfectly with traditional knowledge, where different parts of the plant were used to manage conditions that sound a lot like modern diabetes. For Pacific Islanders, the pandanus tree wasn't just a plant, it was a first aid kit, a chronic care facility, and a wellness center all in one. It provided accessible, effective treatments from everything from daily aches to serious conditions. Now, of course, a quick disclaimer. This is all for educational purposes, based on traditional knowledge and scientific study. It's not medical advice, and you should always talk to a healthcare professional about any health concerns. Still, the sheer depth and breadth of the pandanus's medicinal history is an amazing reminder of the sophisticated medical systems that can develop when a culture lives in a deep, symbiotic connection with its environment. Now let's step into the pandanus's grocery store, where the shelves are stocked with one of the most visually striking and nutritionally vital foods in the Pacific, the challah fruit. If you've never seen one, the fruit of the Pandanus tectorius looks like nothing else on Earth. It's a large, segmented globe, often described as an exploding planet, a pineapple from another world, or a giant woody pine cone. These fruit heads can be massive, ranging from 8 to 30 centimeters long and weighing anywhere from 7 to a jaw-dropping 15 kilograms. They're made of 38 to 200 tightly packed, wedge-shaped segments called phalanges or keys. As the fruit ripens, it transforms from green to a vibrant gradient of yellow, orange, or fiery red at the base. When it's fully ripe, the keys loosen and fall, releasing a sweet, uniquely tropical scent that perfumes the coastal air. This fruit is way more than a curiosity. It's a cultural and nutritional cornerstone, especially on low-lying coral atolls where good soil is scarce. In parts of Micronesia, pandanus fruit can provide up to 50% of a person's total daily calories, making it a true staple food. But getting to the edible part takes a bit of know-how. The flesh of many wild varieties contains sharp, microscopic crystals of calcium oxalate that can irritate your mouth if you eat it raw. Because of this, cooking is the most common way to prepare the fruit. The keys are often boiled or roasted, which breaks down those crystals and makes the fruit perfectly safe and delicious. Once cooked, the real reward is at the inner base of each key. This part holds a soft, sweet, fibrous pulp. To eat it, you just chew on the fibrous end and suck out the sweet juice and pulp. The tough fibers that are left over have even earned the fruit a practical nickname, natural dental floss. But not all pandanus needs cooking. Over centuries, Pacific Islanders have selectively cultivated hundreds of different varieties, each with its own local name and specific traits. Some of these have been bred to have very low levels of calcium oxalate, so their fruit can be eaten raw, straight from the tree. These types are prized for their sweet, soft pulp and are a fantastic tropical treat. The taste is often described as a unique mix of pineapple, mango, and sugar cane. The fruit's versatility doesn't just stop at chewing on the keys. In many cultures, it's processed into forms that can be stored for years, which is critical for food security. One of the most important products is a preserved paste. The pulp is cooked, extracted, often mixed with coconut cream, and then sun-dried into a dense fruit leather. In the Marshall Islands, this is called mukwan. In Kiribati, it's tetuai. This paste is incredibly durable and can be stored for ages without refrigeration, providing a vital source of calories when fresh food is hard to come by. The fruit can also be processed into flour for drinks or jams, and in some varieties, the seeds hidden inside the hard part of the key are also edible, tasting a bit like coconut. Beyond just calories, the pandanus fruit is a nutritional powerhouse. It's a good source of vitamin C and B vitamins. Many of the yellow and orange-fleshed varieties are exceptionally rich in beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A, which is crucial for good vision and a healthy immune system. And as we saw in the pharmacy, recent studies have highlighted its potential for managing metabolic issues like blood sugar and cholesterol. This deep reliance on the fruit is woven into the culture. In Samoan culture, the dried, painted keys are strung together to create a stunning ceremonial necklace called an ula fala, worn by chiefs as a symbol of status. In the Marquesas Islands, certain varieties were used to make leis to adorn sacred tiki sculptures. From a daily meal to a sacred offering, from a kid's sweet treat to a staple that can get a community through a drought, the fruit of the Pandanus tectorius is truly the heart of the Pacific's grocery store. It's proof of the ingenuity of people who learned to unlock the sweet, life-sustaining treasure hidden inside its strange and formidable shell.
If the roots are the pharmacy and the fruits is the grocery store, then the leaves of the pandanus tree are without a doubt the hardware store. Long, flexible, and shockingly durable, these leaves, known as lauhala in Hawaiian, are one of the most important weaving materials in the entire Pacific. The leaves themselves are an impressive piece of natural engineering. They are like giant green blades, ranging from 80 to 180 centimeters long, with a distinct V shape and a spiral arrangement that gives the tree its screw pine name. Most wild varieties have rows of sharp, backward-facing spines along the edges and midrib, a pretty fierce defense mechanism. For weavers, those spines are just the first step in a careful, time-honored process of turning a raw leaf into a workable material. The art of preparing lauhala is as important as the weaving itself. It starts with harvesting the right leaves, sometimes dried fallen leaves, other times carefully cut green ones. Then, the hard work begins. First, the thorns have to be stripped off with a knife or shell. This has to be done precisely to avoid tearing the valuable leaf. After dethorning, the leaves are often cleaned and boiled for several hours to make them more supple. Then comes drying, but not in the hot sun, which can make them brittle. Instead, they're often dried slowly in a cool place or rolled into tight coils, called kuka'a in Hawaiian, to keep them pliable. To soften them even more, the dried leaves are pulled over a piece of wood to flatten and stretch the fibers. Finally, the wide leaf is stripped into narrower, uniform strips. Traditionally, weavers would use a set of thorns to split the leaf into even strips all at once. Today, specialized tools sometimes get the job done. Only after all that prep is the material ready for the weaver's hands. And from these humble strips, a whole universe of objects is created. The most fundamental are mats. In traditional Pacific homes, large woven pandanus mats served as flooring, bedding, and walls. Their quality ranged from coarse and functional to incredibly fine and soft, representing immense wealth and status. The leaves are also woven into durable baskets, hats for shade, and bags for carrying goods. Incredibly, pandanus leaves were even used to create the sails for the great voyaging canoes that settled the Pacific, a material strong enough to harness the wind and carry explorers across thousands of miles of open ocean. One of its most vital uses is for roofing. Pandanus leaves create a thick, waterproof thatch for houses. A well-made pandanus roof can last up to 15 years, which is way better than the 3 years you might get from coconut thatch. This makes it an incredibly valuable building material, providing safe and dry shelter for generations. The art of pandanus weaving is a deeply cultural practice, a skill passed from elders to youth as a way to connect with ancestors and keep traditions alive. In many communities, weaving is a social activity, a time for storytelling and strengthening bonds. The finished products are often dyed with natural pigments, sometimes from the pandanus roots themselves, creating beautiful patterns specific to an island or family. To make things easier, many cultures have cultivated special varieties of pandanus. These are often spineless or lavus types, specifically selected and propagated for their smooth, easy-to-handle leaves. This shows just how deeply intertwined the tree and people have become, with humans actively shaping the plant's evolution. From the roof over their heads to the mat they sleep on, the pandanus tree has provided the very material fabric of life for countless people.
To really appreciate the pandanus tree, we have to look beyond its uses and understand the plant itself, a masterpiece of adaptation that has conquered some of the world's toughest environments. Pandanus tectorius is a botanical survivor. It thrives right by the sea, where it endures conditions that would kill most other plants. Constant salt spray, punishing winds, intense sun, and nutrient-poor sandy soil. It's a true coastal specialist, so salt-tolerant its roots don't mind being washed by seawater at high tide. The tree's most striking feature, that complex web of prop roots, is a key to its survival. These thick roots grow down from the trunk and branches, forming a wide, stable base. This structure acts like a buttress, anchoring the tree in loose sand and helping it withstand tropical storms and erosion. The root system is so effective that pandanus is often planted specifically for coastal protection, binding sand dunes and acting as a natural windbreak. The tree is dioecious, meaning there are separate male and female plants. The male plants produce the fragrant hinano flowers, and the females produce the large, pineapple-like fruit. This ensures cross-pollination and genetic diversity. The pandanus has also perfected long-distance travel. The fruit segments are buoyant and waterproof, able to float on ocean currents for months while the seeds inside stay viable, ready to colonize a new beach. This is how the trees spread across such a vast area, from eastern Australia all the way to Hawaii. While it spreads easily by seed, humans have long preferred to grow it from cuttings. This is the fastest way to get a new tree, and more importantly, it creates a genetic clone of the parent. That's how hundreds of cultivated varieties with sweeter fruit or spineless leaves have been preserved for centuries. These cuttings are often planted in prepared pits, sometimes with compost, to give them a strong start. The tree itself is relatively slow-growing and can live for about 60 years. It has a funny habit of self-pruning, naturally shedding old leaves and branches. But even those aren't wasted. On atolls with poor soil, all parts of the pandanus, especially the leaves, are used to create compost and mulch, improving the sandy ground for other crops. This remarkable plant isn't just a provider of goods, it's a critical part of its ecosystem. It creates habitat, stabilizes land, and improves soil. It's a living example of how a single species can be both a powerful ecological engineer and a generous cultural provider, perfectly adapted to its home and inextricably linked to the people who live there. We've journeyed through the world of Pandanus tectorius, a single tree that's a pharmacy, a grocery store, and a hardware store all in one. We've seen how its roots and leaves offered healing, forming a medical system that science is just now beginning to appreciate. We've tasted its strange and wonderful fruit, a life-sustaining food source for entire populations. And we felt the strength of its leaves, the raw material for weaving everything from roofs to the very sails that carried people across oceans. The challah tree is more than just the sum of its parts. It's a symbol of resilience, thriving where little else can. It's a symbol of ingenuity, representing the deep knowledge of the people who unlocked its every secret. And it's a symbol of culture, woven into myths, ceremonies, and daily life across the Pacific. It reminds us of a time when survival depended on an intimate connection with the natural world, a connection that, in many ways, we're trying to rediscover today. The tree that does it all is a living library of human and natural history, standing proudly on its stilt-like roots, its leaves whispering stories on the salty breeze. If you found this plant as fascinating as I do, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most useful plants. The connection between people and nature is full of incredible stories, and there are so many more to tell. Let me know in the comments what other amazing plants you think I should cover next. Have you ever seen a pandanus tree or even tasted its fruit? I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for joining me on this journey.